The studio lights blazed down on the set of The View, where the audience buzzed with anticipation for a star-studded episode featuring none other than the legendary actor Robert De Niro. Co-hosts Whoopi Goldberg, Sarah Haynes, Sunny Hostin, Alyssa Fair-Griffin, and Anna Navarro sat poised at the iconic round table, but it was Joy Behar who commanded the room with her sharp wit and unfiltered opinions. As the theme music faded and the cameras rolled live across the nation, Whoopi introduced De Niro with glowing praise for his latest film, a gritty drama that tackled political corruption and societal divides. De Niro, dressed in a casual blazer and jeans, settled into his seat with that signature smirk, ready to discuss his work and perhaps touch on his well-known activism. The conversation started light, with the hosts fawning over his iconic roles in films like Taxi Driver and The Godfather Part 2, sharing laughs about his method acting quirks and behind-the-scenes stories from Hollywood's golden era. Joy, ever the provocateur, leaned in with a twinkle in her eye, complimenting his fearless stance against political figures he deemed dangerous, which elicited cheers from the crowd. But as the segment progressed, the tone shifted subtly when Joy pivoted to current events, asking De Niro about his outspoken criticism of former presidents and the state of American democracy. De Niro responded passionately, his voice gravelly and intense, emphasizing the need for accountability in leadership and how art mirrors life's chaos. The audience hung on every word, unaware that this routine celebrity chat was about to spiral into something unprecedented. Joy, sensing an opportunity to delve deeper, pressed him on specific controversies, her questions laced with her trademark sarcasm that often blurred the line between humor and confrontation. De Niro met her energy head-on, defending his views with anecdotes from his long career, including brushes with real-life power brokers that inspired his characters. The exchange flowed naturally at first, with the other hosts chiming in to balance the discussion, but Joy's persistence began to reveal cracks in the polished facade of the show. As minutes ticked by, the dialogue grew more pointed, with Joy challenging De Niro on whether celebrities should wield such influence in politics, citing examples of stars who had crossed lines in the past. De Niro countered smoothly, arguing that silence in the face of injustice was complicity, drawing parallels to historical figures who used their platforms for change. The studio air thickened with tension, yet the live broadcast continued seamlessly, producers in the control room monitoring every beat. Little did anyone know, this was building toward a climax that would stun viewers nationwide. As the interview deepened, Joy Behar steered the conversation toward De Niro's recent public feuds, particularly his viral rants against certain political ideologies that had made headlines. She quipped about how his intensity sometimes overshadowed his acting prowess, which drew a chuckle from the audience but a raised eyebrow from De Niro. He leaned forward, his eyes narrowing slightly, and retorted that passion was what fueled great art and activism alike, refusing to back down from his convictions. The other co-hosts attempted to lighten the mood, with Sarah sharing a funny story about meeting De Niro at a charity event, but Joy wasn't deterred, firing off another question about the divisiveness of celebrity endorsements and elections. De Niro, known for his no-nonsense demeanor, fired back with a pointed remark about how talk shows like The View often amplified echo chambers rather than fostering real dialogue. The audience gasped audibly, sensing the shift from friendly banter to something sharper. Whoopi tried to intervene with a joke, but Joy, her face flushing with a mix of amusement and irritation, doubled down, accusing De Niro of hypocrisy for criticizing media while appearing on it. He laughed it off initially, but his response grew more animated, gesturing emphatically as he explained the difference between constructive criticism and outright dismissal. The exchange escalated as Joy referenced a specific incident where De Niro had called out a public figure in harsh terms, asking if such language helped or hindered progress. De Niro defended his words vehemently, stating that sugarcoating truths only perpetuated problems, and he turned the tables by questioning Joy's own history of controversial statements on the show. The crowd murmured in surprise, some applauding the boldness while others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Sunny Hostin jumped in to mediate, highlighting common ground between their views on social justice, but the momentum was with Joy and De Niro now, their voices rising above the others. Anna Navarro added her perspective on political discourse, But it only fueled the fire as De Niro elaborated on the erosion of civility in public life. Joy, not one to be outdone, countered with examples from her decades in comedy and commentary, insisting that humor could cut through tension better than anger. Yet De Niro pushed back, suggesting that sometimes anger was the only appropriate response to systemic issues. The back and forth intensified, with pauses filled by audience reactions that ranged from cheers to boos, creating an electric atmosphere in the studio. Producers whispered urgently into earpieces, but the live nature of the show meant there was no easy escape. As the segment stretched beyond its allotted time, the tension built like a pressure cooker, with Joy's expressions hardening and De Niro's posture stiffening, both unwilling to yield an inch in this unexpected battle of wills. The brutal exchange reached a boiling point when Joy Behar directly challenged Robert De Niro on his personal life intersecting with his public persona, alluding to past relationships and how they informed his views on family and society. De Niro, typically private, bristled at the intrusion, his tone sharpening as he reminded her that the focus should be on his work and advocacy, not tabloid fodder. Joy, sensing vulnerability, pressed on with a slight comment about how stars like him often preached from ivory towers, which ignited a fiery rebuttal from De Niro about her own privileged position as a longtime TV personality. The audience erupted in a mix of gasps and applause, the energy in the room palpable as the co-hosts exchanged worried glances. Whoopi attempted to steer back to safer waters by praising De Niro's philanthropy, but Joy interrupted with a laugh that sounded forced, accusing him of dodging the question. De Niro shot back that evasion was a tactic of those afraid of truth, his words laced with the intensity of his most memorable film roles. Sarah Haynes tried to diffuse with a question about his upcoming projects, but the damage was done. The dialogue had devolved into a personal sparring match. Sonny pointed out the importance of respectful debate, yet Joy waved it off, her New York accent thickening as she defended her right to ask tough questions. De Niro, unflinching, countered with anecdotes from his activism days, drawing parallels to historical debates that shaped the nation. The exchange grew more heated, with Joy raising her voice to emphasize points about media responsibility, while De Niro matched her volume, gesturing wildly to underscore his passion for justice. Anna Navarro interjected with a quip about Latin fire matching Italian temper, eliciting scattered laughs, but the core conflict remained unresolved. As commercials loomed, producers signaled frantically from offstage, but Joy and De Niro were locked in, each landing verbal jabs that left the audience on edge. The brutality lay not in insults but in the raw exposure of differing worldviews clashing live on air, a spectacle that transcended typical talk show fare. Viewers at home tweeted furiously, some siding with Joy's boldness, others admiring De Niro's steadfastness. The segment, meant to be promotional, had transformed into a microcosm of America's polarized discourse, with no clear winner in sight. Yet as the argument peaked, Joy's frustration became evident, her hands slamming the table lightly for emphasis, while De Niro's eyes blazed with determination. The other hosts sat back, allowing the duo to dominate, aware that this was television gold but teetering on the edge of chaos. In the midst of the escalating confrontation, Joy Behar's patience frayed visibly as Robert De Niro doubled down on his critique of mainstream media's role in perpetuating division. She retorted sharply, her comedic timing giving way to genuine exasperation, pointing out inconsistencies in his arguments with references to his own interviews. De Niro, unfazed, leaned in closer, his voice booming through the microphones as he accused the show of sensationalism over substance. The audience's reactions amplified the drama, with cheers and jeers creating a cacophony that drowned out attempts by Whoopi to regain control. Sunny Hostin voiced concern about the tone turning adversarial, but Joy dismissed it, her face reddening as she launched into a tirade about celebrity entitlement. De Niro countered with a passionate defense of using fame for good, citing his work with environmental causes and anti-corruption efforts. Alyssa Farah Griffin tried to bridge the gap by sharing her political insights, but the spotlight remained on the two titans' clashing ideologies. Anna Navarro added fuel by agreeing partially with De Niro, which only irked Joy further, leading to a side exchange that muddied the main debate. The brutality of the moment lay in the unscripted authenticity, as Joy questioned De Niro's motives outright, suggesting his activism was performative. He fired back that her cynicism was the real barrier to progress, his words cutting deep into the heart of daytime TV's format. Producers in the booth scrambled, debating whether to cut to commercial early, but the live feed persisted, capturing every nuanced expression. Viewers sensed the authenticity, with social media exploding in real-time commentary praising the rawness. Joy, feeling cornered, escalated by bringing up De Niro's age and relevance in modern discourse, a low blow that drew audible shock from the crowd. De Niro responded with grace under fire, turning it into a point about wisdom over youth, but the tension was unbreakable. Sarah Haynes pleaded for civility, yet the argument spiraled, with both parties interrupting each other in a frenzy of overlapping dialogue. The exchange, now far from promotional, highlighted deeper societal rifts, making it impossible to ignore the personal stakes involved. As the clock ticked mercilessly, Joy's composure cracked, her gestures becoming more animated, while De Niro maintained his stoic intensity, refusing to concede. The studio felt like a pressure chamber, with the co-hosts caught in the crossfire, unable to fully intervene without derailing the show entirely. The tipping point arrived abruptly when Joy Behar, amid the heated volley of words, slammed her hand on the table and declared she couldn't continue like this. Robert De Niro paused, his expression a mix of surprise and defiance, as the audience fell into a stunned silence punctuated by whispers. Whoopi Goldberg quickly jumped in, suggesting a commercial break to cool things down, but Joy shook her head vehemently, her voice trembling with emotion as she announced she was stopping the show right there. The cameras captured the chaos unfolding live, producers rushing onto the set, co-hosts exchanging bewildered looks, and De Niro sitting back with arms crossed, seemingly unmoved by the outburst. Joy elaborated briefly, stating that the exchange had crossed into unproductive territory and she refused to perpetuate negativity on air. The audience erupted in a blend of applause and confusion, some chanting her name while others booed the interruption. Sonny Hostin reached out to calm her, but Joy stood up, microphone still clipped, and walked off stage, leaving a void at the table. De Niro addressed the remaining hosts calmly, expressing regret if things got too personal but standing by his points. Anna Navarro tried to salvage this segment with humor, joking about Italian New Yorker tempers, but the momentum was lost. Viewers at home watched in disbelief as the screen cut to an unplanned commercial, social media igniting with hashtags like #TheViewMeltdown and #DeNiro vs Behar trending worldwide. Backstage, reports later surfaced of Joy composing herself in her dressing room, while De Niro chatted amicably with staff, showing no ill will. The abrupt halt sent shockwaves through the network, with executives scrambling to assess the fallout. Pundits debated whether it was a genuine clash or staged drama, but the raw emotion suggested otherwise. As the show resumed after the break without Joy, Whoopi apologized for the disruption and pivoted to lighter topics, but the incident lingered like a shadow. De Niro wrapped up his appearance gracefully, promoting his film amid the awkwardness. The brutality of the exchange had culminated in this unprecedented stoppage, forever etching the moment in talk show history as a testament to unfiltered passion clashing with broadcast norms. In the aftermath of Joy Behar halting The View Live following her brutal exchange with Robert De Niro, the media frenzy exploded, with outlets dissecting every frame of the confrontation for hidden meanings and motivations. Social media platforms buzzed with clips going viral, amassing millions of views as users debated who won the argument, with fan camps forming around Joy's no-holds-barred style and De Niro's principled stand. Late-night shows lampooned the incident, with hosts like Jimmy Fallon reenacting the drama in hilarious skits that captured the absurdity of daytime TV turning into a battlefield. The View's ratings skyrocketed in subsequent episodes, as viewers tuned in hoping for more fireworks, though Joy returned the next day with a measured apology, acknowledging the heat of the moment while defending her right to challenge guests. De Niro, in interviews elsewhere, praised the show's platform despite the clash, emphasizing that robust debate was essential in turbulent times. Critics analyzed the event as symptomatic of broader cultural divides, where entertainment and politics intersect explosively. Behind the scenes, sources revealed tense meetings among producers to refine guest vetting and segment guidelines, aiming to prevent future meltdowns. Joy's co-hosts publicly supported her, with Whoopi calling it a human moment in an otherwise polished production. De Niro's film saw a bump in interest, ironically benefiting from the publicity. As weeks passed, the story evolved into pop culture lore, referenced in memes and podcasts exploring celebrity confrontations. Joy reflected in a later episode on the value of authenticity, turning the negative into a teachable moment about discourse. De Niro continued his advocacy undeterred, using the incident to highlight the need for open conversations. Ultimately, the brutal exchange and subsequent stoppage underscored the unpredictable nature of live television, where scripted segments can unravel into real-life drama, leaving an indelible mark on all involved and reminding audiences that even icons are human in the face of passion.